Hello, Renegaders! The Driver franchise, also known as another GTA knockoff to those who are intensely ignorant, and when you present them with the simple details, they go, but aside from that, the Driver franchise has had a plethora of driving action games that was heavily inspired by every classic Hollywood car chase movie, where in terms of gameplay is pretty simple. You get to drive around said location in your classic muscle car, crash a lot, get into police chases, and travel to different cities, which would later set the foundation for many modern games nowadays. And you get to have anime chicks on your car. And as Driver progressed through the years, they all came up with their own innovative feature, which didn't always turn out for the best. But after some time dealing with the decline in popularity in Driver, Ubisoft bought the rights to Driver and brought the franchise back to its former glory, with one of their entries being Driver San Francisco. Instead of getting out and hijacking and terrorizing a civilian like in other games, they came up with the brilliant idea to turn Driver into a psychological thriller where you can possess random people in traffic and do whatever you want to do in their vehicle.
Get out of the way!
And also, fun fact, Ubisoft didn't just cook up one Driver game. Oh no. Besides disrespecting everything that Driver stood for, the Nintendo Wii version of San Francisco is an entirely different game from the one we all know and love. Along with that, they made a 400-page novel about Driver, written by Alex Sharp, and it's a story that takes place between Drivers 2 and 3. The omelet was good. If Jones had been a woman, Tanner certainly would have considered marrying him years ago. Jokes aside, Driver Nemesis is a really good book. I highly recommend giving this a read. Along with that, they made another Driver game for the Nintendo 3DS, given the name Driver Renegade. And what is this game all about, you may ask? Well, it's a prequel spin-off that takes place between the events of Driver 1 and Driver 2, developed by a small company called VD Dev and published by the big guys themselves. Renegade is a very basic bare-bones driving game, where you drive in a copied and pasted New York City map from Driver Parallel Lines, and with a mix of copied and pasted cars from Driver 3 and Parallel Lines. And it's also the technical successor to another game developed by the same company called Cop the Recruit, also using the copied and pasted New York map. But going back to Renegade, and despite this game being extremely bare bones, with not a lot to do in terms of gameplay, this is probably the most twisted entry in the whole franchise, given the standard issue and for mature rating on a game for the Nintendo 3DS. Can you imagine how that would play out on someone playing this in public?
Then you're in for a hell of a ride. Get in the fucking car! Fuck you, Tanner! You're a fucking nutcase!
What the fuck do I care? NMFB, Jenks, not my fucking problem.
He's a fucking cop! He fell down in the subway, in front of a train. Oh yeah, that's the spot right there.
Baby, you're tense.
But anyways, let's get on to Driver Renegade. So in the story of this game, after the events of Driver 1, where Tanner had to rescue the president and eventually leaves the police force after discovering what the word corruption meant.
Now you come back here and you pick up this bag. Tanner!
So here in our first mission of Renegade, Tanner decides to find a job somewhere in New York City. And Johnny Boy is trying to become a security guard at this one building with his incredible job interview skills.
You won't even tell us why you left the NYPD.
I told you I had issues with how they ran the department.
And like every other Tuesday in New York City, a group of guys get brutally murdered in the background and someone's getting kidnapped.
Who says they're getting away?
And Tanner hops back in his car, and then he skedaddles his way through the streets of Manhattan to stop the bad guy with his hostage. Look out! And somehow you gain nitrous by crashing into buildings, apparently. And this car chase sequence goes on for quite a long time. But eventually, the bad guy pulls into his creepy alleyway, and it's time for a showdown.
I said back the fuck off! I got a better idea. How about I smack you in the head, dumbass?
Damn!
And as it turns out, the guy who was getting kidnapped is a New York senator named Andrew Ballard.
I may need a man like you. Give me a ride. and we'll talk.
And Tanner and Ballard decide to go on a little road trip, and Tanner's talking about his past job.
I went undercover for Mackenzie. He said the assignment was an honor, but I dug too deep, found out too much. In the end, I gave up my badge.
Tanner!
And Ballard, being the usual politician that he is, goes, "Well, I mean, you can work for me and not have to worry about the law."
Not gonna happen. Fuck out of the way!
What's going on?
Buckle up. Looks like you made a few enemies.
And apparently, a bunch of gangsters are out to kill us for some reason, but little do these guys know that they're dealing with John motherfucking Tanner, of course. And this whole mission is just driving this giant soccer mom tank as a bunch of drunk bad guys with horrible driving skills attempt to take us down. Seriously, every bad guy in this game drives like Lance Stroll on a good day. But after that fiasco, we make it to the finish, and Tanner finally makes the decision to work with Ballard as one of his henchmen.
I'm running an anti-crime campaign against some heavy hitters.
You want me to join the campaign?
You bend a few rules, break a few heads, whatever it takes to get the job done.
And then this rando named Nolan pulls up, and apparently he's Ballard's security chief on a mission to hunt down and kill 5 crime lords.
Tell Tanner who we're targeting.
And these evil bastards includes a woman that sells guns, a wannabe Jesse Pinkman, a crypto scammer, Dr. Lewis Hamilton, who is a part-time Ferrari F1 driver, and a full-time organ trafficker, and a OnlyFans pimp. And who's the big boss behind the scenes? Well, it looks like we're gonna have to figure that out. And Tanner, being the big-brained car guy, immediately comes up with the lead.
These are knife V8s. Specialty item, hard to find. Unless you know a guy named Sledgehammer Bobby.
And Tanner pulls up into this auto shop with this guy working on a knockoff Ferrari, and Tanner does what he does best.
Hey, Bobby! How's my favorite snitch?
Don't ask me, man. I'm not a snitch anymore.
Then you're in for a hell of a ride. Get in the fucking car!
And Tanner goes around town driving like a goddamn psycho, running over stuff on the sidewalk, crashing into walls, and speeding towards a Starbucks.
Stop it! I'm gonna be sick!
Really? I'm having fun.
And after committing dozens of vehicular felonies, the rampage comes to a stop.
You're insane!
So, you're ready to talk then?
And Bobby the snitch over here says that the drug lord wannabe guy is the guy behind the attempted kidnapping on Ballard. And that gives Tanner another lead to his assassination missions.
Now fix this car. It's a mess.
And so Tanner gives a special call to the one and only Officer Chad Tronic.
Hey everyone, it's me, Chad Tronic.
And Tanner's asking for the location of the drug dealer guy. But Chad Tropic over here starts babbling about warrants and whatnot.
But we can't move without a warrant.
My new boss doesn't believe in warrants.
And here is where we get introduced to the drug dealer guy. And you can definitely see why Tanner wants to kill him.
What the fuck do I care? I'm out of here.
And so the guy heads out for a drive with Tanner stalking the guy, and then he goes in for the kill.
No escort, Ramsey? This is way too easy.
And after crashing into him a trillion times like a psycho, Tanner gives the poor guy the motorized Kurt Cobain treatment.
You're hard to keep up with, Tanner.
Just doing my job.
And now the next guy on his hit list is the OnlyFans pimp. And so Nolan gives Tanner the deets on what to do. But Tanner is like 10 steps ahead of Nolan.
I've heard about him. He turns Broadway hopefuls into high-end hookers. They say his casting couch has skid marks.
And what Tanner's about to do is taking his yellow Carano from Peril Lines and crash into all of the Gooner shops.
I'm feeling a lot of stress.
You could reduce it, if you know what I mean.
What the? Gee, sorry to interrupt. Did I spoil the mood?
And that's what you do in this mission. Drive around town, engage in bad guys that can't drive, and track down and destroy all the Gooner shops in New York. Well, all 6 of them.
That's what I call shoddy construction.
And once you complete all that, Tanner runs into the blonde chick from earlier.
Hey, are you all right? What happened?
Well, your crazy ass nearly ran me over and a chunk of plywood struck me in the face. That's what happened.
You want to ride to the hospital?
And here we meet Megan, and one of the biggest rules for Tanner is to respect women, and the guy we're after just broke that rule. And of course he's bringing his buddy old pal Nolan along, of course.
Yeah, Gordon, can you guard a hooker for me? Her name's Megan. She's at Mount Sinai.
You want me to do what?
And so Tanner and Nolan arrive at the party, and then Tanner walks in with his tremendous one-liners.
Welcome to paradise. See anything you like?
I like it when it's not for sale.
And we just so happen to run into the guy that we're after, along with this guy that somehow knows us.
Tanner? He's a fucking cop!
Wobush on the move. Go get him before his bodyguards show up.
And Tanner gets a hold of someone's keys and chases after the OnlyFans pimp with the Taramo from Parallel Lines. As we skedaddle our way through the city, crashing into the guy like a psycho, Tanner bringing in his corny one-liners.
Wrong move. Your flight is canceled.
And the dude flies off the bridge and gets killed by his own billboard.
So that's the lingerie ad Megan talked about. Showbiz can be cruel.
And now the next person on the hit list is Leonard Ashton, the crypto scammer. I'm calling him a crypto scammer because it's funnier.
Arthur Boniface is dead. He jumped off a building after going broke from your investments.
Don't sweat it, Grace. That just means I'm doing my job.
And so Tanner comes up with the brilliant plan to sabotage Ashton's illegal money flow that's being transported via SUV. Ah yes, like a true high-class criminal.
Here's the delivery.
Where's Harris?
He's sick. I think it's the flu. We took over for him.
I got a policy about drivers I don't recognize.
Oh, that dude has issues.
So Tanner gets a hold of a random priced out Chrysler and crashes into the money van like 50 times, and eventually it breaks down. And Tanner just would not stop with the corny one-liners.
Looks like Ashton has money to burn.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
And Ashton is mega pissed on what just happened to his bi-weekly paycheck. And now the guy is sending all of his henchmen to take down Tanner, or at least attempt to.
Hi, Tanner? It's me, Megan. I'm just getting out of the hospital. Do you want to grab a pizza?
Love to, Megan, but I'm busy now. I'm a human target for Ashton's men.
As Tanner's getting chased around by a bunch of bad guys, Nolan somehow managed to track down Ashton with his stalking tools and pays the guy a visit.
What if he comes here and finds me?
He will. I gave him the address.
And Nolan takes the opportunity to steal Ashton's entire crypto portfolio. Take some notes, Frenchies.
I just saw Ashton peeling out. He's on top of the parking structure.
I'm on it.
And so Tanner decided to switch to a Corvette for some reason, and he's on the hunt for Ashton. And once again, we're skedoodling downtown, chasing after this dweeb. And as he kills several innocent families of 4 and takes a hard left into Yankee Stadium, crashes into a wall and dies.
Sorry, Ashton. That's the game.
And after that, Tanner decides to visit Megan to give her the classic in, out, in, out.
Thanks for coming, Tanner. I wanted to show my gratitude for helping me.
At least the game knows how to have some.
So we're doing the octopus thing now.
Yeah. This is so weird, though.
So after that stunt, Tanner's going after Dr. Lewis Hamilton, the guy that sells human organs apparently. So Tanner comes up with a brilliant plan to stalk and follow a delivery van filled with human flesh.
Wonder if they're returnable.
And then we drive round and round and round and round in circles because this game has a wide variety of gameplay choices. And after pitting the delivery van, Tanner now knows where the illegal organ clinic is located and decides to tag Megan along for some reason.
Where'd you get that car?
My ex-boss. He doesn't need it anymore.
And so here we are at the Mafia Clinic, and immediately when Tanner and Megan shows up, Dr. Lewis Hamilton is like,
Have a tea break while you're at it.
and Tanner with his spidey senses realizes that trouble has arrived.
They made us. Let's move now.
And Tanner pops into Megan's car and speeds away on the road.
Fasten your seatbelt.
Coming from you, that's not reassuring.
Just hold on. I'll keep you safe.
And so as always in this game, we're being chased by really shitty bad guys that can't drive, swerve in and out of traffic, but eventually escape the bad guys.
Do you always drive like that? You're like some sort of maniac.
I tried the speed limit once. Didn't like it.
And according to Megan, the best way to take down the evil doctor is to run over his newspaper stands, cause for some reason, it's one of his income streams. But Tanner's yellow Carano has gained quite the reputation. So as an alternative, Tanner's about to use his handy dandy Dodge Challenger. And so we drive around town, smashing and running over all the paper stands. And after brutally slaughtering all the media consumers, we find the doctor making a run for it into the subway tunnels.
Hey, Doc!
My heart.
Too bad you can't replace it. Forensic are gonna love this.
And Megan isn't too impressed with Tanner's psychotic renegade cop shenanigans.
Did you find Lewis?
He fell down in the subway, in front of a train.
He fell? You're getting as bad as they are. I don't like it.
Get used to it, babe.
Last but not least on the hit list, Lena Robbins. She's basically the female FPS Russia, and she is well aware how twisted and blood-hungry Tanner is. So she goes out of her way to get a hold of a fucking prototype military APC.
Isn't that overkill?
I'm not paranoid. Just realistic.
And of course, Tanner somehow finds the location of Elena's secret hideout, but little does Tanner know.
Fuck me.
And so Tanner swaps out for a basic ass sedan that's just sitting there, and somehow he's gonna take down this giant ass APC with a 4-door Ford whore.
4-door Ford whore!
But you wanna know the secret to taking down this behemoth? Crash into it with your nitrous. Obviously, and after a bit, you actually complete the mission.
Oops. Sorry, shithead.
And now we're one step away from completing this game, and it all comes down to this.
Lena!
You're the boyfriend?
We'll make a deal. Anything you want, just tell us.
Ballard wins. He's cleaned up his mess.
Lena, you gotta know.
And Tanner pulls Kevin behind the tank for cover, and here is where the entire story takes a giant turn.
What was that? About Ballard?
Don't you know he's behind everything? He controlled the crime lords, used them to advance his career. Now he's trying to hush them up.
That's why I was recruited in the first place, to hide Ballard's secrets. Lying bastards screwed everyone.
They played us like a damn fiddle!
And not only was Tanner used as Ballard's bitch, but he's also on the run from the police after being framed for Lena's assassination. And here we reunite with Lieutenant Mackenzie from the first Driver game, and he is mega pissed at Tanner. But Officer Chad Tronick over here is like,
with a bullet from long range? That's not his style.
And Mackenzie made it official to bring out a warrant for Tanner's arrest, having every single NYPD officer to chase after him. Meanwhile, Tanner somehow got a hold of Kevin Zenda from Parallel Lines. And for the first time in a Driver game, we're actually getting chased by the police. And the cops have no idea how to drive, just like the criminals that were chasing us earlier. These guys are big time pushovers, so not much to deal with. And after 10 minutes of driving, we reach to safety, and Tanner hops on the codec to call up his waifu.
Ballard? Don't tell me you were doing all this for fucking Senator Ballard. He's one of them!
Was I the only one who didn't know that?
And what Megan is basically saying is that there's a secret videotape of the senator hanging out with all the crime lords at where exactly?
Woodworth insisted that the party take place in Suite 6 of the Paradise Hotel. That's where he tapes people with hookers. For any reason you can imagine.
If Tanner can get a hold of that videotape, then he'll get his name cleared and get the real criminal behind bars. So Tanner's on his way to the Paradise Hotel with more bad guys onto him. And once he arrives there, turns out Megan was right. The senator got caught in 480p. And so Tanner hands over the evidence to Officer Chad Tronick.
Shove it up your butt and get out.
And out of nowhere, Kevin arrives to the party with Tanner's fixed up Carano.
I fixed your car, Tanner.
And who's Tanner gonna gun after next? Nolan, of course. He's the guy with marksmanship abilities. And Tanner calls up Nolan for a 1v1 challenge on Modern Warfare.
I found your little hideout, Tanner. Too bad you weren't there.
But the trip wasn't a total loss.
Megan!
And now shit just got personal. Our fake partner has Megan hostage. Especially with Super Rage Mode activated, Tanner is out to rescue Princess Peach. And so Tanner and Nolan skadoodle skedaddle throughout the city, crashing into each other with random bad guys blowing up, and after a while, a guy with a rocket launcher blows up Tanner's car. And Nolan does a U-turn and charges after Tanner. And when Tanner went to investigate the wreckage...
Megan. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Looks like it's not over.
And now Tanner is about to get even with Nolan as he camps out at some junkyard waiting for Nolan to show up at any moment now.
Fuck! Where the hell's my money?
Look out!
Like the wheels? I borrowed them from Lena's warehouse.
As Tanner chases and steamrolls everyone in his path out to get Nolan.
Don't you want to stop?
I'll stop when you're dead, motherfucker.
And after several minutes of crashing into Nolan and dealing with kamikaze bad guys attempting to take on a literal APC, Tanner charges everything he has and takes out Nolan. And Nolan is such an extra drama queen. Look at the mess he got himself in. And Tanner gives his final farewells to Nolan.
Thanks.
Hey, these are breath mints!
Yeah, how about that?
Wait! You can't let me die like this!
And now, it's the final mission. Tanner is out to expose and stop Ballard from fleeing the country. And so he shows up to the party with an army of yellow cars ready to escort the guy. And spoilers, Tanner kills everyone and causes Ballard's truck to fucking explode. Whoopity-doo. And Tanner gives Ballard one final confrontation and talks a lot of random stuff like,
do you expect to be pardoned for all this thanks to your connections? If that happens, I'll find you.
I'll find you. It's okay. I'm gay.
And Tanner decided to not give in to the dark side.
You're lucky I'm one of the good guys.
Hope you like prison food. You're going away for a couple of centuries.
Maybe I could share a cell with the senator.
But coming out of left field, Officer Chad Tropic saves the day with something special.
We just got a call from the top brass. It's from the commissioner's office. Someone needs a driver on special assignment. Top priority, high profile. They want Tanner.
And obviously, Tanner takes the job opportunity and leaves New York and decides to take a road trip to Chicago, thus leading to the events of Driver 2. And that is the end of Driver Renegade, a very basic and bare-boned game that's repetitive and very minimalistic. The only thing carrying this mess is the absurd use of profanity and the cool comic book cutscenes, and the somewhat interesting story, despite turning Tanner into a goddamn psychopath. Which is lore accurate friendly, I suppose. But I give Driver Renegade 3 yellow Caranos out of Tanner not being able to shut up.
And I was just starting to have fun. End of the line, you son of a bitch. Goodbye forever, asshole. Now you made me mad. Goodbye forever, asshole. Time to kick some ass. Goodbye forever, asshole. Let's rock and roll. Goodbye forever, asshole. Goodbye forever, asshole. Goodbye forever, asshole.